Stuff is a 1985 horror comedy film directed by Larry Cohen. As the film opens, these older gentlemen find this bubbling mound of marshmallow goo. And one of them, for some reason, decides to eat it and decides it tastes pretty good. Actually, it tastes really good. Move a few steps forward, they are selling the stuff as the newest treat in supermarkets and in Dairy Queen type establishments, ice cream shops and whatnot. But the stuff has a mind of its own. It's up to our main characters to stop it. This movie doesn't know what it wants to be, and having read some things on the internet, it seems like it was an internal struggle between filmmaker Larry Cohen and the studio he was making the movie for. Cohen seems to want to make a satire of the type of horror movies that were coming out in the mid-80s, while the studio seemed to want an actual honest-to-goodness horror film. And that struggle is evident in the film. There's wild changes in tone. Sometimes it's deeply comedic, sometimes it's very serious, and it doesn't quite make the switch back and forth because the audience doesn't know what to expect from scene to scene. But there are some innovative shooting techniques here. There's some very early matte shots. There's some reversed footage sequences. There's a lot of miniature work. So in that way, it's kind of fun to watch the technology they had at the time be put to film. But for the most part, the film has these wild swings, and I wish it was a little less axe and a little more scalpel in its execution. Bohemian Rhapsody is the Academy Award-winning movie directed by Bryan Singer, I guess? Ruben Fletcher famously finished the film. And the film stars Rami Malek as Queen lead singer Freddie Mercury and follows the band from its inception all the way through its legendary performance at Live Aid. This is a great performance by Malek. He won the Academy Award, that's obvious. But you can see where they kind of hit the jackpot. He looks a lot like Freddie Mercury, and he's also a great actor. In the music biopic market, it doesn't really turn over any new stones, but I don't think it has to be successful. It just has to be solidly written, solidly acted, and tell a good story. And it checks all three of those boxes. It's one of those films that if you've never heard of Queen before, it's informative, but if you have heard of Queen and you're a fan, it's enlightening. I really dug the flick. I enjoyed my time with it. Malek's great. It's well shot. It does a nice job of recreating a lot of the moments from the band's history. I was entertained. Jay and Silent Bob Reboot is directed by Kevin Smith and stars Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith as their most famous roles, Jay and Silent Bob. Is it possible for a movie to do too much and also do too little? I just, on the last episode, reviewed Yoga Hosers. This film does more and is more successful. I still wouldn't say it's good. There are jokes in this film's early going about them remaking Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but the film never gets out of that mode. The jokes are well-worn territory. Smith goes down roads that he's went down before and reaches the same conclusions. There's a lot of let's put characters from other View Askew movies into this thing, have them do the same thing they've always done, and expect the same reaction. This movie reminds me of an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants where SpongeBob rips his pants, and at first it's really funny to his friends, but he keeps repeating the same "I split my pants" joke over and over, and it starts to wear very thin very quickly. That is this movie. It's a series of cameos. It's cameos we've seen before, and they might have been funny then, but they're not funny now. There are a couple funny lines. I chuckled a few times. They were more knowing laughs than laugh out loud moments. This is just more floundering from Smith